here. Don't overdrive it. Wrap them.
How aggressive will they be through the final turns? Kurt Busch, the 2004 Cup champion, is going to win in his hometown. Busch wins in Vegas.
Hi, I'm Kurt Busch, NASCAR champion driver for Chip Ganassi Racing, and you're listening to Jack Arut's Wind Tunnel.
You're entering the wind tunnel. No spin, no bull, all Jack. Wind Tunnel is brought to you by
Advance Auto Parts, the official auto parts retailer of NASCAR.
Here is your host, Jack Arut.
Whether you're a regular downloader or a brand new one, I want to welcome you to the Wind Tunnel. This is where you get to meet the newsmakers from NASCAR, the NTT IndyCar Series, and the Advance Auto Parts Weekly Racing Series. Each week, I visit with these heroes, and hopefully you learn something new about them. This week's Wind Tunnel guests include NASCAR's Kyle Busch, the JGR Toyota driver that fans either love or hate. Now, this past Saturday, Kyle scored his 100th Xfinity win at the Nashville Superspeedway after yet another epic battle with Justin Allgaier. He may be in some ways a polarizing figure, but you'll hear in my conversation with him why KBM Motorsports is his way of giving back to the sport that has given him so much. Our Advance Auto Victory Lap will introduce you to an 18-year-old that chases his racing passions, traveling from his Oregon home to tracks in Arizona and California. Kole Raz says he does it to enhance his dream of someday making it to the very top of NASCAR. Now, his correct name is Patricio, but IndyCar fans know him simply as Pato. And this youngster from Mexico has captured IndyCar Nation's imagination. I think that you'll find his visit an infectious one. And this week in Story Time, I'll share the story about how it came about that I actually started my announcing career. And it was all by happenstance. But if you're a regular here in the Wind Tunnel, then you know what's coming next. For you newbies, it's time to unpack this past weekend's racing card. We like to call it Wind Tunnel News and Notes. The weekend's action started off Friday night at the Nashville Superspeedway, where after a 10-year absence, NASCAR's Camping World trucks were back.
Drivers, start your engine! And for the first time in a decade, we can say we're racing at Nashville Speedway. Ryan Preece to the point, but Infinger fights back on the outside. Ryan Preece wins at Nashville.
Nice job, buddy. After the last 2 laps.
Now, it's Ryan Preece. What the heck? You come to the Truck Series for the first time. How much fun was tonight?
It was a lot of fun. This Ford F-150 was pretty stout. This is why I love to race. I love winning.
Then, Saturday afternoon, the Music City Speed Emporium welcomed the Xfinity Series. Remember how 1 week ago at Texas, Kyle Busch used a late race restart to seal his 99th Xfinity win? Well, as Yogi Berra once said, it was deja vu all over again.
The fight is on again as Allgaier coming up to his outside, but history is going to be made. Kyle Busch will win his 100th Xfinity Series race, and it happens at Nashville.
I want to give a huge shout out to Rowdy Nation out there. We appreciate Rowdy Nation. You know, I saw a lot of you standing up when Allgaier took the lead, and then a lot of you sat back down when I took the lead. So pretty awesome day for Rowdy Nation.
After a successful launch 1 week ago, the SRX Series shifted from the pavement to the dirt when they took their superstars to Iowa's Knoxville Raceway.
And here we go for main event number 2 on our Superstar Racing Experience Camping World Series. Green flag at Knoxville. Now Deegan to the outside of Stewart, and Waltrip looking down low for the race lead. Michael Waltrip to the lead at Knoxville. For the lead, Tony Stewart outside of Waltrip. Off turn 4, the checkered flag and a feature win in the SRX Series to Tony Stewart. He wins over Haley Deegan and Ernie Francis Jr. at Knoxville in SRX race number 2.
Hell, it's the first time I've been in victory lane at Knoxville. You kidding me? This is where I've watched Donnie Schatz and Steve Kinzer and the greatest of the greats in sprint car racing. So This is the place I've always wanted to be for sure, so this is pretty cool. I thought if Michael Walter beats me, I'm going to have to go to therapy or something for about 3 straight weeks.
First up on Sunday was the NTT IndyCar Series as they strutted their stuff when they made their annual stop at Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin.
8 miles at Road America. Joseph Newgarden looking to win for the first time in 2021. Oh. Alex Palou's got to run to the outside. He's going to blow by Joseph Newgarden.
What happened to Newgarden? It's like he lost drive up the hill. That is a shocker.
There was a popping sound as he got past the start-finish line and entered turn 1, guys. I don't know what it was.
Disaster once again for Joseph Newgarden and Team Penske, the most dominant car, and now Colton Herta's going to have a run.
Dixon coming through.
Oh no, emergency mode. Whatever gremlin they might have had at the beginning of the race disappeared. Oh my gosh, and you think about Team Penske with Will Power at Detroit's race 1, couldn't refire the car. Newgarden getting jumped. Look at this, Newgarden is just falling like a lead sinker.
Final corner for Alex Palou, looking for win number 2, and to take over the championship lead by a big margin. Alex Palou has won at Road America for Chip Ganassi Racing.
Yeah, it was amazing. We had a really good car during the race, and yeah, I don't know, HPD did an amazing job because we were able to overtake him before the corner, so super happy, super proud of the Chip Ganassi Racing team, and yeah, I can't believe it.
No sooner had that event taken the checkered flag than attention shifted back to the 1.3-mile concrete Nashville Superspeedway, where NASCAR's Cup Series made its very first ever appearance at the track with the running of the Ally 400.
Kyle Larson sliding, trying to make it 3 wide for the lead.
Down through the middle, the back straightaway, Kyle Larson off into the lead just like that.
He has managed the fuel problem, and he's going to make it 3 wins in a row. Kyle Larson returns to Nashville Superspeedway a winner.
We never really had to run behind people, so I don't know. When my teammates got out front again, it would have been probably hard to pass them, but Valvoline Chevrolet was really good. It could cut the middle of the corner really well, and our picker did an awesome job again. That number 1 pit stall helps a bunch too. And
our weekly roundup would not be complete without getting the latest from NASCAR's weekly tracks. And doing that is the host of PRN's At the Track, Lenny Baticki.
Thanks a lot, Jack. This is your NASCAR Advance Auto Parts Weekly Series Racing Report. We'll start out at Meridian Speedway in Idaho. That's where Daytona Works took her win. Jesse Stovall won at Salina Highbanks in Kansas. Lakeside to Casey Shields. Jason Myers won at Bowman Gray Stadium in North Carolina. Zach Lightfoot and Ethan Johnson split the wins at Wake County Speedway. Josh Cossack and Austin McDaniel did the same at Hickory. Adams County, Iowa to Buck Shafroth. Jacob Godey, a winner at Wisconsin's La Crosse Fairgrounds. Cedar Lake to Jake Radetsky. Zach Riddle, the winner at Madison International. Central Missouri to Jimmy Workman. Doug Colby, the winner at Riverhead in New York. Claremont Motorsports Park to Matt Kimball. Dan Alama victorious at Colorado National. Dominion Raceway in Virginia. That's where Daniel Silvestri took a big win. Nick Sample, the winner at Langley. Motor Miles split by Chris Van Dyke and Jacob Hefner. Brody Montgomery, the winner at Coos Bay in Oregon. Evergreen, Washington to Troy DeCare. Zach Miracle, the winner at Florence Motor Speedway in South Carolina. Greenville Pickens to Greg Dodgens. Kelly Jarrett, the winner at Florida's New Smyrna Speedway. The Bull Ring at Las Vegas to Tanner Reef. Nick Johnson won at Seekonk in Massachusetts. Hudson, New Hampshire to Joey Powarzik. Tyler Leary got the checkers at Monadnock. Lee USA was Brian Krusik and Mark Hudson, both winners. Shane Stutzman won at Nebraska's I-80. Kingsport, Tennessee to Ashton Higgins. Ron Searle Jr., the winner at Tucson, Arizona. And Berlin Raceway, Tom Thomas and Brian Campbell both got wins. That's your NASCAR Advance Auto Parts Weekly Series Racing Report. Have an awesome week, Jack. We'll see you next time.
All right, tighten those belts and get ready for the green flag because we start our cavalcade of guests right after this.
We're hitting the brakes, but we'll be back on track after this. Coming up next.
We're going to pass it back. Not overtime, just straight green-white checker here. Start will be on you. We're going to get this thing done. Go get it.
Oh, Blaney's getting turned by Larson. That's it for him.
He's playing defense with 2 wide behind him. White flag comes back no matter what.
For the first time this year, Kyle Busch goes to victory lane.
Great job, dude. Nice work, Tony. Great job, guys. Yeah, that's it. Woo!
That's a Kyle Busch win right there. Awesome job. Woo!
Happy birthday. Good job, guys.
Woo! Feels good, man.
With Advance Auto Parts, you can get the part you need from the comfort of your garage. We have a wide variety of parts in stock, and you can get them fast. Order online with Advance Same Day and get your part with same-day pickup in-store, same-day curbside, or same-day delivery. It's the fastest way to get the part you need, where you need it, when you need it. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations. See store for details.
One more, buddy, one more. Here it is. But that is it. Yeah, get it, get it, get it.
That was Kyle Busch that said, "Come to the checkers over here."
For the first time in Sprint Cup racing since 1954.
Come on, folks, give him a hand.
More nameplates going to victory lane. Wild Thing wins.
Yes,
Kyle
sir.
Busch. And off the final turn. No crutches necessary. Kyle Busch wins at Sonoma. And Kyle Busch is going to win at Indianapolis. No one has battled through as much pain and had as much perseverance as 30-year-old Kyle Busch. Tonight he earns his first Cup title. Get out the broom. You just swept at Bristol. The fight is on again as Allgaier coming up to his outside, but history is going to be made. Kyle Busch will win his 100th Xfinity Series race, and it happens at Nashville.
Well, if I attempted to list all of this guest's accomplishments, quite honestly, there'd be no more time for an interview. So let me just hit some of the highlights. He is a two-time NASCAR Cup Series champion. He is a two-time NASCAR Cup regular season champion. He's an Xfinity Series champion. He's an all-time wins leader in the Xfinity Series. Ditto for the Camping World Truck Series. He's a two-time Brickyard 400 winner. He's gone to victory lane in the Southern 500 as well as the Coca-Cola 600. And this is just a sampling of what Kyle Busch has accomplished in his NASCAR career. Hey, Kyle, welcome to the Wind Tunnel.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it, Jack. How are you, man?
I'm doing well. Did you ever, in your wildest imagination, think that you would be on this career path with so much success when you and your older brother were trading paint on the Legends Car circuit in Vegas?
You know, there's always a dream, and any boy's dream can hopefully become a reality, and certainly mine has been that. So, you know, when I was a kid, just growing up, 8, 9 years old, whatever it was, and Jeff Gordon kind of started, he was the guy who I chose from the very beginning with that bright colored DuPont Rainbow car. And, you know, obviously he turned out to be a pretty good race car driver himself, won a lot of races, won a lot of championships. But I was like, you know, one day I want to be his teammate. You know, I want to race with him on the same team. And lo and behold, it happened for me, you know. And once I was there and kind of was able to start winning and won my first race, I was like, damn, this is really, really cool. This is like a dream, you know. And ever since then, it's just continued to skyrocket up. And it's been fast track to success for sure. But loved every minute of it and would certainly love to keep it going. That's for darn sure.
Well, I mean, you're not hanging it up real soon. I mean, you've got plenty ahead of for you. It must have been intoxicating to finally realize your dream and then experience what you have so far. What stands out? Were there a couple of moments during that period of time that really have become benchmarks and golden moments for you, Kyle?
Well, definitely, you know, winning your first race when you're coming up through like that was certainly special. Winning again for Joe Gibbs Racing as my first race with those guys, first race for Toyota, first race for M&M's in a long time in the Snickers car at Atlanta. And then, you know, being able to win the big races like you mentioned, you know, the Southern 500, the Coke 600, win 8 races in a season. Also, I think one of the cool trips to victory lane was when I did win that Coke 600, that solidified me being able to win a race at every single racetrack current on the schedule at that time.
Coming around to lead his 377th lap of the race to take home his 47th career win. The Candyman comes. Kyle Busch gets it done at Charlotte. He is now won everywhere.
Yes, you guys are amazing. Awesome job. I can't thank y'all enough. it, man. Yes!
No other driver had been able to do that. No Richard Petty, Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt, anybody had achieved that one. So that one was really, really awesome. And of course, too, being able to bring home the 2 Homestead race victories that I did, which also meant bringing home the championship in 2015 and 2019, have just been remarkable experiences for me. And, you know, of course, the Bristol sweeps are cool. You know, they all have their own special meaning. You know, you win at Martinsville, you bring home a grandfather clock. I've never seen one of those things. So now you've got to dial that thing up every day and wind it and keep it going. But it's all worth it.
Have there been any bumps in the road along the way?
Oh, yeah. Many. Probably. Well, I wouldn't say as many wins as I've had. There's been bumps in the road. It's probably been maybe 10% of bumps in the road. Most notably just early days, you know, running into guys, making enemies with guys, stuff like that. Probably the Hornaday incident would be the number 1 on the list. But, you know, I think all of that stuff kind of comes through growing up with age and being with some of those guys that you're running against and how they're older and want to be treated with more respect and stuff like that. And you kind of feel like, well, hey, I'm a young guy coming in and I need some respect as well, too. So there's that balance there. And sometimes you both overstep that boundary.
I believe not since Dale Earnhardt Sr. has there been a fan nation that is either for a driver or against a driver. Coupling that with my theory that whether it's Tom Brady or you or anybody that's absolutely at the top of their craft, you polarize. You don't, if you were being referred to as Kyle Busch and the fans said, hey, he's all right. Loving or hating, I think, goes with the territory when you excel. What do you think?
Yeah, no, you're right. I feel like that. You know, I'd have to agree. I think there's certainly, you know, there are other drivers that have fans that like them and fans that boo them, but I would say we definitely are the cream of the crop on that one. So, you know, obviously there's the fans that love the most popular driver of the sport with Chase Elliott. And I think that's, you know, Kyle Larson's gaining back a lot of fan base as well, too, right now with the success that he's having, obviously. Denny's got his guys, you know, my brother, Matt Kenseth, when he was here, whoever it might have been. But, you know, having Rowdy Nation on board and everybody supporting what we do with the M&M's car each week and the Interstate Batteries car on occasion has certainly been fun over the years. And, you know, you talk to your sponsors and you meet up with them and they love you for what you're doing and the abilities that you're able to carry both on and off the racetrack. And that's why we continue to be here, right?
Yeah. Woody Hayes, the great Ohio State head coach, always counseled his players that it was incumbent upon them to pay it forward. And in many ways, you have done just that with the success in your career in forming KBM Motorsports. How fulfilling is that for you to be able to mentor and usher the next generation that, to be quite frank with you, if they do hit it in the big time, they're going to start chasing after you. And already when you go to the trucks, I mean, look out, John Hunter Nemechek has got your number.
Yeah, no, you're right. You bring up the point of they're chasing after me. Well, pretty soon they're going to be chasing after my job. So
that's right.
I got to be careful, watch out what I'm doing and who I'm developing, what's happening, you know. But it's been fun, you know. Ever since I started Kyle Busch Motorsports back in 2010, the dream was always kind of to be to have a full-fledged, you know, experienced guy, a guy that can be in there each and every year, that carries the flagship for the team. And then also to have some of the younger drivers that kind of come up through and are able to make a name for themselves and to have an opportunity to go out there and race too and come up the ladder eventually. So being able to do that with, you know, the likes of Eric Jones and William Byron and Bubba Wallace and Christopher Bell and some others that they've been able to make it to the Cup Series, you know, and that's a dream for us. And winning championships with those guys before they move on out is also something that we strive for. And, you know, having John Hunter back on board this year and the success that he's having already has been instrumental to our program and what we're all about. So now we just want to see him carry that forward and be able to carry it to a championship at the end of the year.
Well, I would think, too, you're leaving the door open as long as you possibly can because you've got a son that most likely is going to follow in Pop's footsteps.
Something like that. Yeah, no, Brexton's been doing good. It's not even been a year yet since he ran his first race. So he's been getting better and better every time we go out and building more confidence, more comfort, and being able to race around the other competitors that he's racing around. And, he's the youngest one out there still. I mean, there's maybe one or two that are a couple months younger than him, but they're not to the level that he is. And he's been racing just 10 months or so, but some of the other kids are 7, 8, 9 years old that he's running against. So makes you feel good and puts things in perspective a little bit. And you can kind of see the age difference of these kids too, and on not their experience level, but just their life experience level, from a 6-year-old to a 9-year-old is hugely different, So it's pretty remarkable to see what he's been doing and keeping up with some of those guys as well too. He's got a few buddies out there that he likes to race with and run around, and they run hard, and we call it door banging. They door bang each other a little bit, so it's good action for sure.
So when you're at the racetrack with Brexton, do you become a little league dad?
I mean, I'm kind of like the coach. Well, let me put it this way. I'm the car owner, I'm the crew chief, I'm the tire specialist, I'm the mechanic. I'm not the hauler driver. I do have a guy now driving it to the track, but no, all these roles are also with the guy that helps out. So, it's definitely a little bit of that little league dad for sure. I like to be out there and coaching him and helping him. I feel like the amount of knowledge that I've gained over time and the different experiences that I can see from him, like we have a GoPro camera on him, right? You have to, and you replay that GoPro footage and you go through it with him and you tell him like, okay, you're doing this right here, but also think down the line, like, what if you did this, talking about things differently. Well, you shouldn't have done that. You should do this, and trying to coach him and just put those things in his mind right now to hopefully he remembers. So by the time he's 10, he's already forgotten more than what he's learned, And I feel like if I could be Kyle Busch at 36 years old back when I was 22 again, man, the rest of the field's in trouble.
Kyle, it's been a real treat. Wish you nothing but the very best and appreciate you visiting with me today.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Thanks for having me, and look forward to seeing you guys at a track again real soon.
Hey, thanks, Kyle.
You got it, brother.
Take care. Enjoy.
Yeah, man, you too. Have a good one.
All right, bye. Stay right where you are, because coming your way next.
Now that moves Kole Raz up to the 2nd position. They are not letting that 48 machine get comfortable.
And Raz is closing in on this rig.
Door to door, race in action at Tucson Speedway. We've seen it all weekend long. No surprise to see it here now. Your leaders get right up to each other. They're playing a game of chicken into turn number 3.
Would you travel 1,400 miles one way just to win a championship? I thought Eric Reed's commute from Utah was long until I met my next guest. 18-year-old Kole Raz joins me for this week's Advance Auto Parts Victory Lap after this timeout.
With Advance Auto Parts, you can get the part you need from the comfort of your garage. We have a wide variety of parts in stock, and you can get them fast. Order online with Advance Same Day and get your part with same-day pickup in-store, same-day curbside, or same-day delivery. It's the fastest way to get the part you need, where you need it, when you need it. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations. See store for details.
I'm Kyle Rickey from MRN Radio, the voice of NASCAR. They are the foundation of American motorsports, the launching pad for racing's future. Time now for the Advanced Auto Parts Victory Lap, brought to you by the NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Series, driving local racing and local communities forward.
Saturday night opened the NASCAR racing season here in Tucson. It was the only sports event in town, and I think we were good luck here at News 4 Tucson, because I interviewed at 5:30 Pro Stock driver Mike Vaughn here in the number 19 and Super Late Models Rookie of the Year Kole Raz, and they both won their main events. Raz in the number 21 car is off to a great start in 2020. He finished 3rd at the Chili Willy 150 back in January, had the fastest car in qualifying Saturday night, won his heat race and the main event.
Taking this week's Advance Auto Parts Victory Lap is a driver who turned his first wheel at the age of 4.5. And from those early beginnings, 18-year-old Kole Raz has risen up the short track ladder to take last season the Arizona State Championship as well as the Advanced Auto Parts NASCAR Track Championship at the 1/3 of a mile Tucson Raceway. But the heart of the story is how he accomplished all of that. You see, Kole hails from Lake Oswego, Oregon, and regularly makes the 1,400-mile one-way trip from his home in Oregon all the way down to Tucson every week. And he joins me here inside the wind tunnel. Kole, I've never heard of a driver traveling that far each and every week. You must have racked up a lot of frequent flyer miles.
Yeah, we definitely a lot of flying, but I feel like it was the perfect scenario that we got ourselves into with my car owner Brad and Joanne Corneliusen. So it was basically the perfect opportunity, and we just couldn't pass it up. So definitely a lot of trips going down south, and got to experience some cool scenery through Salt Lake, and just all my transfer flights. So a lot of miles logged, but now we're running the Spears SRL Southwest Tour Series.
Yeah, and now you're traveling up and down the West Coast. Tell me some of the tracks you've visited so far.
So we started the season off over at Irwindale with the All-Star Showdown. And then we went to Kern County Raceway Park in Bakersfield, California. And then we headed over to Roseville, Stockton, and now we're going back to Kern County on the 26th.
So what's ahead for you? You've got to obviously have a plan and a goal at the end of it.
Yeah, I think for any young driver, the goal is to make it to the Cup Series. That's what I'm going to be shooting for. I mean, you can only shoot for the stars when you're at this point. So I think if I just continue to progress and mature over these next few years, I'm not in a huge rush for myself. I think that can get some younger drivers into trouble as they move up the ladder too quickly. So I think as long as I just get my feet wet and just absorb as much information as possible over the next few years, whether it's in super late model racing or whatever, is my next step in that regards.
What do you think the biggest lesson that you have learned over the course of the last 3 years in super late models?
I feel like the biggest lesson is just working on your own stuff. I think a lot of young drivers, they take advantage of that. They, it's the show up and drive mentality. I think over the last few years, I've really increased that of just being as hands-on as possible, whether it's working on my brother's late model or, obviously on my stuff down south. And I feel like it's a unique position for me because we don't own any of the race cars that I run, just they're not in Oregon. So anytime I'm down there, I always fly in a week early on a race weekend just so I can be in the shop and keep building that chemistry with the guys.
You mentioned your brother who actually provided the connection for you to hook up with your car owners. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so when my brother got connected with Jefferson Pitts Racing back in 2015, his teammate Noah Gregson, they ran for 2 years, 2015, 2016, and Noah grew up racing down in Las Vegas Bullring with a guy named Dustin Ash. And so he did legend car racing, super late models, and just helped, progress him through the ranks. And so we got connected with Dustin in the year of 2016 to go do some of my own legend car racing. And then Dustin met Brad and Joanne Corneliusen down in Tucson, and he started crew chief in Brandon Farrington, who's my current teammate now. And excuse me, and that just progressed to a new opportunity as Brad was looking for a young up and coming driver and then just one thing after another just kept progressing.
You mentioned Noah Gregson. He kind of forged the way for cats like you on the West Coast. And before him, hell, you can look at the long list of drivers. I go far enough back in Cup racing that really wasn't the case. If you didn't relocate to Charlotte, North Carolina, and compete at the Caraways and the Hickories, it was a tough road to hoe. But now, just with the hottest shoe that we've got, Kyle Larson, seems to be that the Cali kids have the best opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you said back in the day, it's always, you're in North Carolina or somewhere back east, just because that's where the hub of racing, I feel like, it is. And I think over the last few years, it's progressing to where these West Coast guys can, shine in the light a little bit. So I think as I get older, I definitely see myself possibly moving back east, whether, say it's either Tennessee or North Carolina. I just feel like you still may have to be back there to get your foot in the door. But right now, I think the way is looking pretty good.
Now, for my listeners, I should confess that we had a couple of challenges getting you here on this show because you're more than just a race car driver. You were getting ready to play in your high school basketball with your high school basketball team. So how did that go?
Well, so we actually just had a 2-week break because unfortunately, so I'll backtrack. So 2 weeks ago, a kid in our senior class unfortunately tested positive for COVID. And so that canceled our graduation. So we went through a drive-through, and then sure enough, it exposed to the basketball team. So we had 2 weeks off midway through the season. And so yesterday was our first game back. And so it was just kind of going through a little walkthrough, and today's our senior night, which is going to be pretty exciting. So, but next Tuesday, like I was mentioning to you in the email, is the playoff game. And I leave Tuesday night to go to Kern County. So it's if it's not an early game, I'm going to be missing that, unfortunately, just because obviously racing's coming first. And for me, basketball has always just been something to keep me active through the winter. And as this got postponed, I didn't see this going into the spring and summer.
Is there one driver in the upper levels, Kole, that you try to pattern yourself after?
I feel like when I was younger, Jeff Gordon was one I always looked at. I think mainly just because my dad was always a big fan of him. I always would look at a guy named, Jimmy Johnson. I feel like he's a class act. I also go back to Carl Edwards. I know I'm naming a few here, but one thing I really like about Carl Edwards is in his interviews, sunglasses off every time he'd get spoken to. He'd address I'm spacing names, but they're addressing the person that's interviewing them. So I just feel like that kind of class act and respect goes a long way in that sport.
Nowadays, you can't just bring a helmet and a fire suit, and you can't just bring a helmet and a fire suit and sponsorship. You have to have the skill set outside of the race car. Sounds to me, as I talk to you, that you've honed that skill pretty well. How much have you had to concentrate on what I call PR, marketing, and social media?
Huge. I think especially this year, being a part of the Alan Quickie driver development program, they're huge on the PR and your community engagement and how active you are on social media. So I had to take it up another notch and really push myself, just because I do everything myself on social media. So it's kind of fun for me just because I enjoy posting and, just looking at how different drivers do it. And I think that's the big piece. As much of it is as a sport, it's a business. So you got to work your way up and secure the funding, like you were saying, and that's a big piece to get that top level.
So do you conduct any mock interviews looking in the mirror?
I'm going to say no. I feel like most times it's either winging it. I think when I was younger, or even not so much younger, my high school years, we had a sports marketing competition. It's called DECA. And it's basically a whole state competition. So all schools across in Oregon come together, and you do basically these role plays, and you pitch ideas to these complete and total strangers, and it gets into a real competitive spirit. But I feel like over the last 3 years, it's really progressed me to be able to talk easier to new people and, in front of people as well.
It sure sounds that way in our visit. Best of luck as you continue up that ladder. And we do appreciate your visiting with us, Kole Raz, right here inside the wind tunnel.
Thank you, Jack.
Be sure to join us again next week for another trip to racing's grassroots with the NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Victory Lap. Brought to you by the NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Series, advancing the next generation of drivers and champions. I'm Kyle Rickey from the Motor Racing Network.
Coming up next.
Here we go, inside. He tried the outside, down into three. Pato O'Ward is the race leader. Pato O'Ward is an IndyCar winner.
Go, baby. Vamos. Yes. Nice job at the hometown race, baby.
Look out, look out. Here comes Pato O'Ward.
Pato O'Ward wasting no time to get after the front of the field.
Up one.
Palou defending on O'Ward. O'Ward goes to the outside. It's hard to make this work, but he's going to try.
He's got a run on Herder right here. Nice work, Pato O'Ward. Up to second.
All forward, baby.
Oh, this is the move right here. Oh, they touch. They touch.
Little smoke there.
Oh, boy.
75 miles an hour. Pato O'Ward leads this race.
Check the flags out.
Pato O'Ward wins race number 2 here on the streets of Belle Isle.
Nice job. P1, baby. Good boy. Good job.
IndyCar's Pato O'Ward, front and center after this timeout.
With Advance Auto Parts, you can get the part you need from the comfort of your garage. We have a wide variety of parts in stock, and you can get them fast. Order online with Advance Same Day and get your part with same-day pickup in-store, same-day curbside, or same-day delivery. It's the fastest way to get the part you need, where you need it, when you need it. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations. See store for details.
And look, there's no wrong answer, okay? Whatever you feel.
Yeah? I just start opening them.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Have you ever locked your keys in your car? No, but I locked myself out of my own apartment.
Really?
Yes.
When was that?
Mid-December.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Are you at Indy? That's a cold lockout.
Yeah.
What
So
happened?
I just called Oliver and I slept over at his place.
Did you go to like take the trash out or something? What happened?
Yeah, so I was just trying to put the trash out and I like tripped and the door just boom and I was like, no! And I left the keys inside, I left my wallet, the TV on, I left everything inside. So I had to wait until the next morning.
Well, my next guest here on the Wind Tunnel burst onto the scene with, he needed a brass band, but instead he just decided to start winning with Arrow McLaren Chevrolet. He's already got 2 in the books. We're talking about Pato O'Ward. And Pato, last season, well, you came close, but close is only good in horseshoes and hand grenades and nuclear weapons. But this season, you've won on an oval, and now you've won on a road course. Can you describe just what the weight of the world is, having been lifted off your shoulders with those 2 victories?
Man, it's been a great ride. It's been a great journey. But man, it's been tough this year. Like the grid is tough. It's competitive. I've been talking to a lot of the guys that have been racing for many years, and they're like, man, I've never seen it this stacked in decades. And I mean, obviously I'm biased and I'm not gonna disagree, but I truly feel like this year is just so tough. And I think Taylor said it best. He said, the first win is kind of like a breakthrough. And then the second win was very validating of what we're doing. You know, our work and our hard work is showing. And I think that's the biggest thing for us right now, is that we have to continue this, you know. I told everyone, if there's a time to push, it's right now. We're in the middle of the season. We need a very strong stretch this summer. If we want to make our lives a little bit more chill getting into the month of September, that there's 3 more races. But knowing the IndyCar Championship, it'll probably still be stressful. But man, it's been great. It's been great so far.
You visited with us on numerous occasions, especially after victories on our Sirius XM Brick by Brick with Tony Kanaan. And I've got to share with you, TK is just over the top impressed with the way you go about your business. You know, there's a lot of veterans that are looking at you, looking at Alex, looking at Renus, and saying to themselves, oh my gosh, the young guns are coming after us. And this season, as you just alluded to, you can go down to 21st before you can say, well, maybe this guy doesn't have a chance to win. Do you thrive on that? You know, the fact that it's so competitive?
I love it. I love the pressure and like it just makes everything so much sweeter when you actually have a good race, when you actually have a good result, when you win. It's just so sweet, because all the hard, like, man, talking about hard work, like, I don't think it gets harder than that. In my opinion, there's no category in the world that's as hard as IndyCar. There's just not. You know, people can call me biased or whatever, but I think everybody that's been in IndyCar and has been in other series will say the exact same thing, because it is so tough. It is so hard. And, you know, obviously there's strong teams and there's more, you know, teams that aren't as experienced, but I feel like this year, the aero kit is getting to the end of its life. The engines are getting to the end of its life. And I feel like everybody has caught up and everybody is just as tight as ever. And, you know, obviously the big teams might have a little bit more here and there. But man, I mean, you saw with, for example, Grosjean, I mean, Dale Coyne, which is, you know, it's not one of the biggest teams, pulled it. Renus won with Ed Carpenter Racing in IndyGP. Like, there's been a great mix of all the teams. There's been a great mix of 45-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 35-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 25-year-olds, 20-year-olds. Like, I mean, I don't think it gets better than this. Like, everyone is competing against each other. And I feel like the mix up of just having like huge vets and like very young rookies and stuff, I think it's really cool. I think it makes it really exciting.
Why do you think it is that the Renus, Colton, you, Alex, the young guns, why do you think it is that they have adapted so quickly? Because that hasn't been the case maybe 10 years ago when you had to pay your dues. But right out of the box, you guys have taken not control, but command and said, hey, look at us, we're here, and you're winning.
Man, that's a really good question. The first thing I would go to is maybe it's like the availability of simulators, but honestly, I hate simulators. I don't think they don't prepare you for the real thing. They just don't. Like whatever people say, oh, they're so high tech. Yeah, they are. They're very expensive. They're cool video games, but they're not the real thing. And they don't prepare you for the real thing. They can kind of show you around where the track goes, but to me, that's as much as they do. And I just really think that for example, the Indy Lights car, I think it's a very similar car to the Indy car. It especially with this new aero kit, the car likes to move around. And I've always enjoyed just like living kind of with the car a little bit on the edge and just feeling it out. Because that's how it's fast. If, you can have a bit more of a secure car, but it'll usually not be as fast. I've always been okay with it and I enjoy it. It makes me feel like connected with the car in a way. But man, yeah, I don't know what's the best answer to that question. I just think that I think we're coming in a very strong generation. Like I feel like the group that is coming up is strong, like really, really strong. I don't really know what else to say. I think, not to say that we're better than others, but it's like, it's kind of visible to the eye that specifically our generation has been just more kind of like people are not used to seeing such like young ones up there fighting with Dixon, Power, Ray Hall, Newgarden, Rossi, Hunter Ray, those guys. So yeah, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, in all the years I've covered IndyCar racing, until you guys arrived, I never heard the term referring to a car as, wow, that was sketchy. But you guys, I think, have that tattooed on your arm somewhere because you embrace sketchy. We saw it with you and your victories. You just alluded to the fact that you feel connected to the car. Let me switch gears for just a second. You said that you live for racing. You've got your sights now set on winning your first ever NTT IndyCar championship. What are some of, and I also realize you're going to finally get to test a Formula One car at the end of the season, but what else is on your racing car bucket list? What else would you like to give a go at just for fun?
So right now I have a job to finish in IndyCar before I think of going anywhere else. I'm really happy where I'm at. Mm-hmm. Great group of people, great series, so competitive, so rewarding. And I love where I'm at. So I want to do my job the best I can. Where I am now, which is in the IndyCar series. I'd love to get a 500, man. That puts you in history books. And I think Will said it the best that, you might be, people might know you if you win an IndyCar championship, but when you win a 500, you're never forgotten. And I feel like that's pretty true. So I'd love to get that, in terms of Formula One. It's kind of like my boss's choice. So if he if he decides to move me, then that's it. And honestly, what I tell everybody, that those chances don't come. And when it comes, whether you're done with what you're doing or whether you're just a little shy of what you wanted to accomplish there, you have to take it because it comes once and that's it. So that's definitely where my eyes are right now. I'd love to do Le Mans. I've done Daytona. yeah, I mean, everybody talks about the Triple Crown, and, you know, that'd be great to do. But in order to be able to get the Triple Crown, you first have to get to Formula One, win Monaco, win the 500 and Le Mans. So right now I'm in the IndyCar aspect of it, and I want to do a good job for my team because they deserve it. And then, you know, later on in life, if things kind of shape up to somewhere else, then, you know, we'll see. But yeah, I'm fully focused where I'm at right now, and I want to do a good job for them.
Well, hopefully, let me give you just a little idea. All right. Once you win the championship, once everything starts to fall into line and you've got a little time out, why don't you trek on down to a dirt track and try a late model, try anything on a dirt track, because your style of driving, you like being on the edge. You want to talk about being loose. Loose is fast, my friend. And I honestly think that you would take to it like a duck to water. I appreciate it, Pato. Wish you nothing but the very best. And hope we weren't too painful inside this wind tunnel.
No, it's all good. Thank you.
That's Pato O'Ward. We'll be back with more of Jackaroot's Wind Tunnel right after this.
With Advance Auto Parts, you can get the part you need from the comfort of your garage. We have a wide variety of parts in stock, and you can get them fast. Order online with Advance Same Day and get your part with same-day pickup in-store, same-day curbside, or same-day delivery. It's the fastest way to get the part you need, where you need it, when you need it. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations. See store for details.
And now...
Hey, Rocky! Watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat!
Again?
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto!
Wrong hat.
I take a 7.5.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
With apologies to Rocky and Bullwinkle, it's time for Wind Tunnel Stories. Not fractured, and certainly not fairy tales. Instead, they're stories collected during my 50 years in racing. I've enjoyed more than 50 years covering motorsports, and my career has included Super Bowls, Major League Baseball, Olympic sports, the Iditarod sled dog race, the Pan American Games, and, of course, college football. But that rewarding career path started only by happenstance. You see, my first job in racing was hawking ice cream at a local track. I parlayed and conned and harassed my way up the local racing ladder to land the job as the flagman at the Stafford Motor Speedway, Connecticut's premier NASCAR venue. It was a dream job. You couldn't get much closer to the drivers, and I loved it. Well, the better part of the story is the pay was also phenomenal. It was a dream job. You couldn't get much closer to the drivers, and the pay was phenomenal. You've got to remember that this was back in the mid-'60s. The Ford Mustang introduced at a sticker price of only $1,995 to give you a better appreciation of what I received to wave the flags. I got $75 cash, and I thought I was Marcus Lemonis. The following year, though, my father purchased the track, fulfilling one of his lifelong dreams, and along the way, keeping the track from shuttering its doors. I stayed on the stand, and I kept getting those weekly pay envelopes stuffed with 75 greenbacks. But maybe a month after my dad took over the racetrack, sitting at breakfast with him, I allowed my big mouth to get me in trouble. You know what, Dad? I said, your announcer at the Speedway sucks. Now, remember, I had zero announcing experience upon which to base my criticism, but as always, that didn't stop me. He's terrible, I continued. I didn't lift in my criticism. I just kept talking until Dad held up his hand and said loudly in that voice that all fathers have when they reach the end of their rope, well, if you think you can do a better job, then you haul your fanny up there. And that was it. I went to the booth the very next week and have never stopped announcing. In fact, I continue to do so here and also on Sirius XM NASCAR radio. But back to that first night when I went from the starter stand to the announcer's booth. When the race ended, I went to the pay window along with the rest of the employees to pick up my customary pay envelope. Imagine my surprise when I opened it, and there it was, $10. $10. You got to be kidding me, right? My big mouth at breakfast had just cost me $65 a week. But looking back, in the end, that pay cut opened the doors to a career in announcing that has spanned almost 60 years. So I guess in the long run, I actually did get a good deal.
Only now you know the rest of the story.
That's it for this week's edition of Wind Tunnel. My thanks to Kyle Busch, Kole Raz, and Pato O'Ward for visiting and sharing their stories. You don't want to miss next week's episode. I'll be visiting with the current Advanced Weekly Series National Championship leader, Peyton Sellers. Alexander Rossi from IndyCars will stop by, as well as NASCAR's Cup Series driver, Corey LaJoie. Remember now that the entire Wind Tunnel series can now be downloaded at your favorite download site. And we also have a Wind Tunnel YouTube channel where, in addition to posting each weekly episode, we feature a series that I call Uncut and Unplugged. It puts the interview video with the audio, and believe me, it is totally unedited. Thanks for listening, and I hope that I get to see you again next week.
Today's trip to the Wind Tunnel was brought to you by
Advance Auto Parts, the official auto parts retailer of NASCAR.